Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Central TV. My name is Mazino Appeal. Now the top stories this hour. Many feared abducted as armed men storm Grow Homes estate in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Also, Speaker of the House of Representatives withdraws controversial bill that sought to make voting compulsory for eligible Nigerians. Coming up, ruling Union for Democracy and Social Progress in the Democratic Republic of Congo rebukes former President Joseph Kabila over his ties with M23 rebels. Details now. Now let's begin with security matters. Panic has gripped residents of Grow Homes estate in Chikakore, Kubwa, following a fresh attack by gunmen in the early hours of Monday. Located in Buari Area Council of the FCT, Chikakore has come under multiple attacks in recent times. According to eyewitnesses, the armed men reportedly overpowered local security personnel and operated freely for about an hour. Residents say the sound of sporadic gunfire woke many of them from sleep, leaving families traumatized and unsure of their safety. Some residents are now calling on security agencies to intensify patrols and deploy more personnel to forestall a repeat of the attacks. News Central's correspondent Sagir Ibrahim brings us update on the recent developments.
In the wee hours of May 25th, it was reported that armed assailants had entered Grow Homes estate, situated somewhere in Chikakore around the Kubwa axis of the Federal Capital Territory, where no less than 3 individuals were abducted. Now, developments getting to us shows that around 2 of these individuals managed to escape. However, 1 individual was unfortunately taken away by the armed assailants. Up until this moment, no word has been heard from the abductors. However, residents of this estate, Grow Homes, right now behind me is the gate of the estate, are saying this isn't the first time that this incident has happened, whether in the estate or even in the suburb. As a matter of fact, they mentioned that quite a number of individuals who reside in this estate have now vacated the premises less than 10 hours after the abduction has happened, and some of the residents will be speaking to us to give their 2 cents on these developments.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Mr. Igwe Uvakomo Binna. I'm a resident of Grow Homes Estate here.
Can you bring us up to speed? What happened last night?
Okay, I was not in the estate. I was out. I went for my job when I received a call from the house that the shooting was much, and then I had to leave my workplace because I work in Kuboya. I had to leave, and I went to Phase 4 police station, went to Biachi police station to make a report, and then I was given a number that their team was already in the estate and the rest. So coming back at early hours of today, I just heard that 1 person was kidnapped out of the 3 people, because my friend was in fact, they entered my friend's house, but they were not able to see him because he ran on top of the ceiling. So that was what happened. Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a few hours after that development. How have residents been reacting?
People have been removing their things from the estate already. Like my friend already has packed out already for now.
So does that indicate that this area is no longer as safe as it used to be?
The area is not safe. We need more securities in this area. The area is really, because this is not the first time, this is not the second, this is not the third, this is not the fourth. Like, this is what everybody know about this side. If you ask anybody about Chikakore, they will tell you that kidnapper side. So it's really not advisable. So what we need more is security. If security is here, the place is very safe and okay for us. We like our estate, but we just need security, that's all.
Did it seem like the person that was abducted was targeted?
Not really, because if it was targeted, they wouldn't have entered only his house, because they went to like 2 or 3 houses before his own. So that's it.
Okay.
They normally come like that too. That's it.
So generally, aside security, what other calls do you have to the government?
The government should look into this environment, this area, because the road is the problem of this area. If they can fix this road to bring more people to the area. So I think the road is what is affecting this place, to bring more light into the environment. So they should think about this road. That's what I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're still here at Grow Homes Estate, here in Chikakore, Kubwa, FCT, Abuja. We've made several attempts to gain access to the premises and get a feel of what transpired over the course of the night. But unfortunately, we've been denied access into the premises. Earlier, we saw someone who we were directed to meet as the owner of the estate. But unfortunately, as we approached him, he also drove his car away. We also met others who were supposed to be a team of operatives stationed here at the estate. They were adorning mufti, but then were carrying AK-47 rifles. We made another attempt to speak with them just to access the premises, to get a feel of what happened. But unfortunately, still, nobody has spoken with us, save for the only residents who told us what happened over the course of the night. So far, we may have to play a waiting game to see whether we might be able to speak with some other residents and maybe even access the premises to get a feel of what happened. But then we remain here. We'll bring you the details of these developments as they happen. It's Sagir Ibrahim for News Central.
Now, staying in Abuja, where officials from the Federal Capital Territory Administration, under the leadership of Minister Federal Capital Territory Nyesom Wike, have sealed the national headquarters of the People's Democratic Party. Now, this action follows the FCTA's recent announcement on Sunday stating its intention to reclaim properties affected by the revocation of 4,794 land titles due to non-payment of ground rent spanning 10 to 43 years. At exactly 2:06 p.m., a group of FCTA staff locked the entrance gate of Wadata Plaza, the PDP's national secretariat, located in Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Our correspondent Amadine Uyi monitored the exercise.
And agreed that for the time being, when we came earlier on with very high presence of security, they had already padlocked the gate. But after discussing with the management of the secretariat, they gave them about between 30 to 40 minutes to evacuate everything within, that they were sealing the place permanently. But you could see that a lot of staff were visibly upset because, as I'm telling you, most of them have left their offices, they've closed for the day. They were very upset. PDP is Nigeria's largest opposition party, and they're running in between the minister of the FCT and senior members of the party. So many people had already begun to attribute it to a political witch hunt, of which we asked the Director of Lands and the Director of Development Control, for which they said that their business is not with PDP as the party, but the owner of the property, I think a former member of the Senate, that he's been owing ground rent for over 30 years. And they had served him notice before now. They went to his Kaduna home, served him notice, and also brought the notice to this property. That coming to take possession of this property is not new. They have done their due diligence and would refuse to attribute their current action to political party maneuvering and permutations.
Now, away from that, the Director General of the Department of State Services, Oluwatosin Ajayi, says the agency is investing in schools, places of worship and sporting facilities across Nigeria as part of a strategy to counter terrorism and subversion through community engagement and social development. Speaking through a retired DSS Director, Ahmed Zalma, during the inauguration of the Bola Tinubu Center for Islamic Studies in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, Ajayi said such non-conventional interventions were designed to reduce discontent and win the trust of vulnerable populations. The Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Sa'ad Abubakar III, who led dignitaries at the inauguration, described the school as a legacy project and a powerful symbol of religious tolerance and unity. To discuss this, we're joined by former Director, Department of State Service, Dennis Amakri. Mr. Amakri, you're welcome once again. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, sir, what specific intelligence indicators led to the DSS considering schools and religious centers as focal points in counterterrorism strategy?
Okay, the core mandate of the DSS is not limited to only intelligence gathering and then, of course, law enforcement. And, of course, they go beyond what they call the non-kinetic areas in trying to address the root causes the root causes of most of these problems of terrorism and insurgency. So I think it's something in the right direction to have the DG, SSS to, come up with this particular project initiative.
So how does the DSS plan to integrate counter-terrorism awareness into the curriculum of activities of schools and religious institutions, as without infringing on freedom of religion and education?
Well, one thing is this: yes, there is freedom of religion and freedom of association, so to say, everywhere in Nigeria. But I think it will be a very good idea to inculcate it into the curriculum of schools. I know fully well that in other institutions like the National Institute of Security Studies and the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, they already have security education. Some universities also are now offering degrees in bachelor's degrees, master's degrees in security studies. So I would suggest really that a lot of universities take up this task, especially when it comes to primary and secondary education at this time.
Okay. The role now, what role will community-based intelligence and local security works like vigilantes, which is mostly used in these kinds of instances, and faith-based organizations as well, what role will they play in this initiative?
The DGSSS himself has come out to say that the whole approach to security should be the whole of society approach, where fighting insecurity is not left for the security agencies alone. So everybody's hand must be on deck. And then, of course, we have these vigilantes and all other community or state help societies that you have, like Amoteku and all those kind of groups. And of course, before we have the state police in place, I think all these vigilante groups should be also be more serious in dealing with the banditry and insurgent situation by supplying credible information or intelligence to the intelligence agencies. And of course, like they said, you see something, you say something.
Mr. Makri, before I let you go, one final question. This curriculum and this initiative, would it involve combat lessons or just strictly intelligence lessons? And if it's just intelligence lessons, what assurance do the communities have that they would not be targeted afterwards?
Like I mentioned earlier, there are institutions in Nigeria that are now involved in security studies and stuff like that. For these particular schools that the DG is trying to set up, I think they are not for combat. They are basically for intelligence awareness, security awareness, and of course, much of situational awareness studies where people are conscious of what is going on around them, and then of course, trying to safeguard the community by also liaising with the formal security organizations and agencies. When it comes to combat, I think then we have to leave that to the police or the military, to go. That will be the kinetic area of the whole fight.
Mr. Makri, thank you for the clarification. And, we'll always come to you for these kinds of matters. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Now let's go on our first break. When we come back, Imo State Governor sacks his commissioner for justice amid minor cabinet rejig. We'll bring you the details in just a bit. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now, Governor Hope Uzodinma has approved the immediate sack of the Imo State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Cyprian Akwalisa. The erstwhile commissioner has been directed to hand over all government properties under his care to the State Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, immediately. This is contained in a statement issued on Monday by the State Commissioner for Information, Public Orientation and Strategy, Declan Emelumba. Emelumba said the exercise is a result of a minor cabinet reshuffle to rejig the administration of His Excellency. Politics now. The Speaker of the House of Representatives has withdrawn a controversial bill that sought to make voting compulsory for eligible Nigerians. The bill, co-sponsored by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas and Daniel Ago, who represents Basa Jos North Federal Constituency in Plateau State, passed second reading in the House on the 15th of May. Leading the debate, Ago argued that the proposed amendments to the Electoral Act 2022 aimed to address the persistent issues of low voter turnouts in Nigeria. He said enforcing compulsory voting would boost civic engagement and make electoral participation a legal duty rather than a voluntary act. In the meantime, there was a mild drama on Monday at the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission office in Yaba area of the state as the Labour Party's caretaker committee expressed concerns over the plan by Lasiek to recognize Dayo Ekong from the Julius Abule-led faction as the state party chairman. News Central's Igbalani Yomoni here has more details.
The caretaker committee members of the Labour Party in Lagos State are here at the Lasiek office to register their displeasure over the purported plan by the state electoral umpire to recognize another faction of the party led by Julius Abure.
My escorts came here on Friday to clarify what was going on. Came here on Friday, we had no clarification. Nothing was told to us. At least the least we expected was that if they had written to us to let us know that they were not going to attend our primaries and they were not going to deal with any faction, the least they could have done was write again to us. So we came back here again today. And fortunately, we were able to see the chairman of LASEC. She has now given me a letter, which at best is very fishy. So the letter is the request for clarification on lawfully recognized executives. That letter is dated the 19th of May. That letter then comes from INEC to them saying that your letter is dated 12th and 16th of May. Meanwhile, the letter she wrote to us, that she copied us in, that she wrote to the REC, was written on the 20th of May. So there's discrepancy on dates there.
Despite mild drama at the Lasiek office, the caretaker committee did not mince words that Lasiek should do the needful.
Did clarify.
Where's the letter, please?
Don't ask. It's with IPAC chairman.
Why don't you have that letter?
I have the letter, but
So why can't we
IPAC
see the
chairman,
letter?
when I returned on Friday,
Yes, ma'am.
INEC gave us a letter.
But you sold the forms to the Dayo Ekong faction on Thursday.
Just a moment.
Come down.
When I returned,
Yes.
was when I sent that letter to. My letter was first.
We asked for it, demanded for a copy, it wasn't given. So it's fake. Because any document that is in the public space that you cannot see, you cannot have a copy. Nobody has a copy. INEC Abuja does not have the copy. REC does not have the copy. It's fake.
The development has raised concerns about the potential implications for the Labour Party's leadership and the electoral process as elections draw nearer.
Let's assume that the Ekong faction fills all the candidates, they go in. INEC comes back tomorrow to say that they have interpreted the Supreme Court judgment and it favors the National Working Committee and National Executive Council, of which we were inaugurated under them, right? What does that do? For all the candidates that have now purposely won their elections and they now get taken to tribunal, automatically they're nullified.
Irrespective of the faction.
Irrespective of the faction. So it's a systemic approach. We all know, everyone in Lagos knows that Lagos has been a one-party system for 26 years. And they want to continue that. And we are here to say it is going to stop.
While Lasiek did not address the media, the caretaker committee called on the commission to uphold the rule of law. In Lagos for News Central, Galani Omni.
Gender-based violence has continued to challenge marriages, even with growing awareness created by stakeholders. Recently, a man identified as Udochi from Obingwa and resident in Asa Umodioka in Osusioma local government area of Abia State, southeast Nigeria, allegedly set his wife and children ablaze in the wee hours of May the 26th, 2025. But in a twist of fate, Udochi has reportedly died under mysterious circumstances a few days after his wife and last child died as a result of the fire he allegedly ignited. News Central's Chinwe Ogili brings us the details here.
The couple, Udochi and Amarachi, as they were known, with their 3 children, had been tenants in Asomudioka, Osisioma community, in Osisioma local government area of Abia State for about 5 years. Their marriage, according to the neighbors, was indeed a turbulent and chaotic one while they lived, prompting several interventions.
And the father of Amarachi has been here. The mother has been here equally. The village people here, neighbors who have been consulted, and many times we settled the quarrel, but at the time the thing persists.
The neighbors testify of Amarachi's impeccable character and find it hard to understand the cause of their unending quarrels.
Only 500 naira to zoro gari yaro mi area. The toga chalaria. Die we kinye 10 naira.
Pa Ihemere narrates how he and others learned about the incident.
Thursday night, bro, Friday. Anom nona. Manumbu. Mapatalike. Choepo. Aputazofogo. Mano, so. Baba numbu. Omutakre. Mabapuzo like dope. Woputa. Amamakwa. Then a manje woputa. Maji again. Manga hoko. No one you laho. Master, I call when check a paper to blow again. Put under puta. The call could you want a craho? See, I'm going to idea wall of about walk by 2 a.m.
With the help of other members of the community, the woman, partly burnt, was rushed to a nearby hospital where they inadvertently ran into the fleeing husband, who also had gone there for treatment of the burns he sustained. At the hospital, the medical director, who declines interview, confirms that the duo were brought to the clinic but were not treated. The youngest child and the only daughter died instantly in the fire, but by the following day, Amarachi passed on in another undisclosed health facility. Her husband was later allegedly taken to the police. In separate viral videos, Udochi claimed in one that his wife had refused to cook for him, and in another blamed it on unspecified problem. Just when the Abia State government was making attempts to go after the culprit, it was gathered that he had also passed.
Then we're like, let's talk to the commissioner of police and know what to do. That's what we normally do when we have these cases. We don't rest. We call the gender officer, we call this one, commissioner of police is open. But then we now heard that the young man is dead, the man we want to go and arrest is dead.
The police public relations officer in Abia State Police Command, Maureen Chinaka, confirms the incident. A clinical psychologist, Godwin Obaji, highlights factors that might have influenced such an action.
Sometimes childhood advanced effects, maybe childhood experiences that is unresolved. There are some traumatic experiences that we undergo in life that can lead to such a thing.
Can one truly say that justice has been served in this case when 2 children have been orphaned by avoidable deaths of both parents? In Omahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Now, in a bid to improve security at public gatherings, the executive chairman of Makpamuro Local Government Area Council in Kogi State, Ademola Bello, has issued an executive order empowering security agencies to regulate public gatherings and prosecute violators. The latest move comes in the wake of a tragic event that resulted in the death of a youth during an event to mark a cultural milestone. Bello acknowledged the rights to peaceful assembly as enshrined in the Constitution, but noted that they must not jeopardize the safety of the people. One of the provisions of the order is that no public gathering shall be held in Makpamuro without obtaining permissions from the police or other security agencies. Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and the Gambia have presented their country reports at the ongoing first ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja. The reports present the state of affairs of the three countries to the ECOWAS community, giving a scorecard of their democratic progress. Here Amadine Uyi reports.
3, 4, 5. Please make 5 copies available to members.
The presentation of community reports form a fundamental part of the first ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament holding in Abuja. Nigeria's representative to the Parliament, Abiante Awoji Nomek, presented the state of the current political situation in the country to members of Parliament present.
Nigeria continues to demonstrate its commitment to deepening democratic principles and promoting good governance, serving as a cornerstone for stability and progress in the West African region. Political participation. During the reporting period, Nigeria has recorded incremental gains in democratic consolidation. The democratic landscape remained dynamic with significant electoral activities at the sub-national level. Off-cycle governorship elections were held in Edo and Ondo states in September and November 2024, respectively. These elections were generally peaceful and orderly.
Sierra Leone and the Gambia also had an opportunity to present their reports.
The political landscape in Sierra Leone is remarkably peaceful, inasmuch as no significant report of tensions between and among political parties. The current political limelight is efforts of political parties, particularly the ruling SLPP party and the opposition All People's Party.
Political participation in Gambia has significantly expanded since the country's democratic transition in 2017. This period has been surge in political party registrations, heightened engagement in electoral processes, and growing sense of civic awareness among citizens. Notably, the number of registered political parties has more than doubled, rising from 9 in 2016, when President Adam Barrow was first elected, to approximately 19 today.
Awaji Nomek also informed the Parliament that progress has been made in Nigeria in several other key areas, like the establishment of local government autonomy, efforts in fighting corruption, and the moves to create a credit guarantee system that will expand credit access for businesses and individuals, especially women and underserved groups. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Let's go on a break now, but when we come back, we talk about the sealing of the PDP headquarters in Wuse, Abuja. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, a caucus meeting of the People's Democratic Party is holding at the Bauchi State Government Lodge in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The meeting, which was earlier scheduled for 7 p.m., was rescheduled following the sealing of the party's National Secretariat by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The FCTA sealed Wadata Plaza, the building housing the National Secretariat of the PDP in Abuja, on Monday over unpaid ground and tenancy rent. The PDP caucus comprises serving governors, National Assembly members, Board of Trustee members, former presidents, and former vice presidents. Now, our correspondent Joshua Imarai will be joining us live from the Bauchi Government Lodge, venue of the PDP caucus meeting, for more on this. Joshua, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Madino.
Grand. Joshua, please give us details about what's happening. Now, we've heard about the sealing of Wadata Plaza, but what else has happened since?
Well, I am live at the venue where the caucus meeting of the People's Democratic Party is holding. And behind me, as you can see, are some of the security detail who has occupied the premises to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order. This place is filled with journalists, pressmen from our own various sectors, and as well as security detail of those who attended, who is attending the caucus meeting. Well, as you rightly said earlier, the caucus meeting comprises of those who are holding one political office or the other, as well as past-serving governors, as well as presidents. Well, the people here is quite expectant of what will become of the outcome of this meeting that is currently holding behind me. And we are expectant that they will give us updates as regards the earlier scheduled meeting that is supposed to hold tomorrow, the 27th of May.
Well, what about the details of the sealing of Wadata Plaza now? Has there been any information from the FCT minister regarding the situation on ground?
Well, the minister has maintained the stance that this is about governance and this is about the Federal Capital Territory Administration. That anyone found or caught wanting would have to bear the brunt. Well, the FCT minister is not here. That is what I can tell you for sure. We are expecting him, if he changes his mind, to be here. But he's still maintaining that stance and resilience on his earlier order that those owing ground rents, their buildings should be sealed with immediate effect. We are expecting more tomorrow, and unfortunately for the PDP, their national headquarters was sealed at the Wadata Plaza. So that is it for the minister. But we are expecting to see if the minister will show up in this meeting. But earlier, I can tell you for sure that some people of the People's Democratic Party are here, and they are right here. That's talking about the president of the governor of Bayelsa State, Dr. Soyezuri, was the last person who walked into those doors for the meeting.
I'm wondering whether the attendees or any of the members there of the PDP feel that this was targeted at the PDP in any way, shape or form. We are aware that this is a blanket thing going on for at least 4,700 sites. But do they feel targeted in any way?
Well, one thing I'll tell you for sure is that the PDP members holding their meeting behind the stores don't actually prioritize that particular event that transpired today. Well, what I can tell you for sure, according to sources say that that will not be on the table of discussion. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to make such events take priority in the course of this meeting. So they are resilient that they will it was a positive note from the meeting that is holding behind the stores. So one thing I can tell you for sure is that they are setting that off the table. That is not up for discussion today. What they are after is the internal affairs of the PDP and how to resolve the crisis blocking the party.
Joshua Marai, thank you very much for bringing us details. I will be coming back to you for more as the meeting is concluded. Now, the ruling Union for Democracy and Social Progress in the Democratic Republic of Congo has launched a fierce rebuke against former President Joseph Kabila. The party urged Kabila to stop interfering in national affairs and branding him as Rwandan with ties to the M23 rebel group. The attack came on Sunday in response to a rare public address by Kabila, who on Friday accused President Felix Tshisekedi's government of taking arbitrary actions against him. His remarks followed a Senate vote that stripped him of his parliamentary immunity, a step that could lead to charges of treason over alleged links to the Rwandan-backed M23 militia.
Ce soir, Nazako lancé un appel à M. Kabila de laisser les Congolais traiter leurs problèmes sans discussion, puisque nous, Congolais, nous allons nous entendre un jour. Contrairement que yé sujet rwandais au bakotsela kibiso awa boza komona ndenge azako boma biso. Est-ce qu'il peut nous dire depuis que Félix Tshisekedi à la tête de ce pays asa sala makambo boye pour venir nous importuner avec des discours montés de toutes pièces pour se faire accepter par les Congolais. Bomoni ndenge bazako boma boye. C'est de la même manière qu'on tue nos frères à Goma et à Bukavu. Tango abandonné ko recruter 23 azoya na bango awa. Po babo mabiso na ba manifestation. Ayeba kiteke biso tozaki na information nyonso wana. Awa tozana ba famille ya batoyo Kabila aboma bande kona bango.
Now let's take a quick break, and when we come back, more from around Africa. And we have breaking news. A suspected terror attack on Monday rammed a vehicle, or rather terrorist attack, rammed the vehicle into a crowd of supporters reveling in Liverpool city centre while celebrating the club's record equalising 20th Premier League win. Now, once again, we will continue to bring details about this situation where we have a suspected terror attack from Monday, which he rammed the vehicle into a crowd of supporters reveling in Liverpool city centre while celebrating the club's record equaling 20th Premier League win. Do stay with us and we'll bring you more on that. More news. Legal Practice Council witness took to the stand in Meyiwa trial on Monday following the testimony by the lead investigator, Brigadier Bongani Gininda, was paused after requests were made by Advocate Charles Nisi, the lawyer for the first accused, Muzi Sibia. Last week, Advocate Charles Nisi asked for more data from the tracking devices installed in some of the police cars that were used to transport Sibia. 5 men are being tried for the Bafana captain's 2014 murder. Meyiwa was shot at the home of his then-girlfriend, Kelly Humalu, in what the state believes was a hit. Our content creator, Nwazi Dombela, joins us to unpack this. Nwazi, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, since the trial resumed a week ago, what are your overall observations regarding the proceedings so far?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you. So my observations are that the time that was requested by Advocate Nisi was used very well by him, because you can see with the questions that he is posing to the witnesses that he's really going through the finer details of how the investigation was conducted and how the arrest of the accused also took place. So the time that he did request in order for him to prepare himself to represent accused number 1 was well used. You can tell in the finer details that he is requesting with regards to the questions that he's asking the witnesses on the stand.
So considering the disparities in the evidence, what do you think this indicates about the preparedness or integrity of the NPA and the police involved in the investigation?
To be quite honest, you can tell just from the get-go that this case was not well prepared. The investigation and everything with relation to this case, they were not well prepared. And as the evidence that has been led in courts already, with regards to being a second docket 375, you can already tell that it was sort of like a rushed job to get the docket into court, but not all information was gathered accordingly. This is indicative by the evidence that we've seen over and over the court proceedings that has been brought in by the states in drips and drabs and causing a lot of delays in this case. So the NPA, the police that investigated this case, it is clear that they were not done with their investigations when they brought this case to the courts.
Regarding today's proceedings, what was your impression of Advocate Nyako's about the FCC number and the disparities around the representation of accused 1?
Now, it's very interesting how they could say that the FFC number was a duplicate. It raises an eyebrow to say you are saying that you have a duplicate FFC number, and it's taken you, over 5 years to recognize that you have this mistake in your systems, and it was only because the defense has picked up that this number belonged to a Lizanne Scholz that now you're telling us there was a duplicate. And the funny thing is, when you look at the numbers that they are providing when it comes to Njiako, they're still indicating that the FFC number that was supposed to be Njiako's FFC number was also registered in 2020. So how is it that the LPC was unable to pick up such a huge error? And also, how many other clients has Njiako assisted using an incorrect FFC? It's negligence on the side of the LPC, if you ask me. And it's just not making sense how you could go for so long not picking up that 2 advocates are using the same FSC number. It raises an eyebrow to us as the public watching this case.
This matter. So, until then, thank you very much for bringing us the details.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Will do. Now, 20 players have arrived at the Super Eagles camp in London for the Unity Cup Invitational Tournament. 10 home-based players and their officials jetted in on Monday morning. They were later joined in camp by 10 foreign-based professionals. 5 more players, Stanley Wabali, Maduka Okoye, Amas Obasoge, Christiantus Uche, Samuel Chukwueze and also Tulu Arokodare are still being expected in camp. The Super Eagles will come up against eternal rivals Ghana at the Det Community Stadium, Brentford, London on Wednesday. Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago will clash in the opening fixtures of the tournament. And former Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag has been appointed head coach of Bayern Leverkusen on a 3-year contract replacing Xabi Alonso, who departed to manage Real Madrid. The 55-year-old Dutchman returns to management after being dismissed by United in October, with the club struggling in 14th place in the Premier League. Ten Hag is best known for his successful tenure at Ajax, where he won 3 Eredivisie titles and reached the UEFA Champions League semi-finals in 2019. Leverkusen, who won the Bundesliga unbeaten and lifted the German Cup under Alonso last season, also reached the Europa League final. Ten Hag had been linked with a return to Ajax before committing to the Bundesliga runners-up. And Athletic Club in Ghana forward Iñaki Williams has been named the 2024-25 Sporting La Liga MVP, becoming the first player to win the award back-to-back. The accolade, which honors La Liga's best African player, was announced on Africa Day at a Johannesburg event. Williams earned 32% of vote from fans across sub-Saharan Africa and a panel of 25 football journalists. He finished ahead of Senegal's Pepe Gueye and Cameroon's Flavien Enzo Boyomo. Williams was crucial to Athletic Club's return to Champions League football, contributing 14 goals and assists and playing the most minutes in the squad. His win highlights the growing impact of African talents in Spain's top division. And that's all this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Many have been feared abducted as armed men stormed Grow Homes estate in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. And Speaker of the House of Representatives has withdrawn controversial bill that sought to make voting compulsory for eligible Nigerians. And also we told you that the ruling Union for Democracy and Social Progress in the Democratic Republic of Congo has rebuked former President Joseph Kabila over his alleged ties with M23 rebels. I remember you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screens now. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.